Hello, welcome back to Heretic Owl Tarot. My name is Liz, and I will be guiding you on this journey today. This is the reading for Cancer, wherever Cancer is in your chart. I hope that you are all doing well. What is going on in Cancer right now? Jupiter? I don't know, bro. They kept talking about how amazing Jupiter is going to be for Cancers. Blah, blah, blah. How are you? How are you doing? Jupiter is like the planet of expansion. It's usually the good luck planet, which expansion can go many different ways. We have the Strength card in reverse, Temperance, kind of sideways. I feel like I have my answer a little bit. We'll see what else comes out. But yeah, I don't know. And I think in part that is because Neptune and Saturn were going into Aries, which would have been squaring Jupiter for a minute. I don't think that square is like happening anymore. But it's like, sure, maybe Jupiter and Cancer would have been a good thing if these other transits like weren't happening. But I don't know. We still have some more time. I think Cancer or Jupiter is in Cancer until like June or July or something. So anyway, I'm a Cancer rising. That's why I'm bitching about it. So because I feel like my ass has been thoroughly kicked this year in good ways and not like so good, but I'm certainly not like this has been the best ever, So anyway, what else for Cancer? The Lovers, dang. Well, I will say that you guys are the first ones that have had all major arcana cards. Interesting. I'm not going to lie, the Strength card for me feels like the Hanged Man. Strength is Leo. Temperance is Sagittarius, which is Jupiter. We were talking about that. The Lovers is Gemini. But traditionally, the Strength card is about determination, inner strength, perseverance. It's not usually physical strength, right? It's even too like having to stay in places longer than you should because maybe you feel like you should, or even like confidence is coming through, a lack of confidence. So strength in reverse, because I'm like trying to feel into it, because I don't think that it's like that you haven't been strong or you haven't been determined or persevered or whatever. I don't think that it is that, but I almost feel like it's been extended or like delayed, because like I said, like this feels like the Hanged Man to me. And the reason why I say that is because there's this upright in this depiction of the Strength card. There's this pelvic bone here. I think that's what that is, right? The pelvic bone. These two flowers, which to me like feels like female reproductive organs for some reason. Like I don't know if it's just, again, I think it's just the imagery that is making me feel that way. And then of course this snake is weaving its way through it, and it's literally like holding up this pelvic bone. This could also even be Kundalini energy. Anytime you kind of see a snake weaving its way through like a pelvic bone, because I think the Kundalini energy like starts at your root chakra and then goes up through the crown. But with this being in the reverse, right, it literally like this pelvic bone is upside down now, right? The Hanged Man is literally hanging from one leg upside down, so even just the end of the tail up here looks like a hook, and it almost looks like a silhouette of a body, if you squint your eyes and tilt your head. And I also even kind of feel like the snake is more of a focal point versus the pelvic bone. Is that a pelvic bone? I mean, if I'm wrong, I don't know. I'm just gonna roll with it. But so, the Hanged Man talks about delay, suspension. It's kind of willful suspension too, in a sense. Because it's not like they're totally stuck there, but also like they're not usually depicted like they're not stressed out about it. The whole purpose of the Hanged Man is to see your situation, your circumstances, your life, whatever, from a different perspective by literally changing the perspective. It also talks about enlightenment, because I believe too that the hangman usually has like a halo around their head, which I think is, supposed to signify enlightenment. And that's literally, I mean, the ability to see multiple outcomes, the ability to see multiple different perspectives, which is very mutable sign, which is like Gemini and Sagittarius actually. I think Cancer is cardinal. Yeah. Which is what? I think cardinal signs, is that like the beginning of seasons? They get stuff going, they get stuff moving. Also too, like when I see snakes, I think of shedding skin. And why do they do that? To grow. And I believe to like heal or replace injured scales. I'm pretty sure that's accurate. I really should Google that because I use that example every time with snakes. And if they're for whatever reason unable to shed their skin, they will die. Like it'll either get infected and they will die from that, or they'll suffocate because they have outgrown the skin, right? So there's an element of growth here. There's an element of again, like delay and suspension, with even with strength being in the reverse. Like I said, it's feeling more like being in a delayed or an extended period of having to keep it together. Also too, it could be any type of stubborn or like resistance to committing to something is blocking the flow of energy, or that is what is putting you into a holding pattern such as the Hanged Man. So yeah, I mean, if you are, again, resisting something, and maybe it's like resisting something that is going to take a lot of your energy, a lot of your time, a lot of commitment and dedication from you, even a little bit, like honestly, I'm at a point in my life, just, period of time and era that I'm like, I don't have a lot of energy or a lot of oomph. And honestly, I rarely do. I'm very like earth heavy. Any planets I have in fire are all retrograde. Like I don't have it, because this is Leo, right? So maybe there is something being activated for you in Leo, which, I mean, Pluto would be like whatever planets you have in Leo, if you do. And of course, too, if you are a Cancer sun, because Leo is ruled by the sun. So yeah, all of that. All of whatever I just said. Also, too, even just recognizing it, because I keep looking at the snake's head, that instead of going up, right? Because Kundalini, I mentioned that. I'm not super duper like versed in Kundalini, but if this card was upright, then the snake would be going in the right direction. But since it is in the reverse, you might even just find yourself repeating lessons, like, almost just kind of finding yourself back at the same place. Like, you thought you were making a different decision. You thought you were doing something, like differently. No. You were really kind of only probably telling yourself that, Heard, felt, got it. And then we have the Temperance card that is in the reverse, but it's working its way upright. It's so funny, actually, too, because Gemini, their reading, the middle card also came out literally the same way, which is kind of funny. But I see when the card comes out reversed this way, pointing, whatever, in this direction to the left, I see it as like making its way upright, like going clockwise, versus if it were to come out this way, pointing more to the right, it would be working its way into the reverse. So again, like yours is at least working its way to upright. Also, I don't shuffle reversals into my decks. I think it's an OCD thing. Like I cannot handle the cards going two different ways. I just I want to throw up. But but if the card comes out in the reverse, of course, we honor that over here. Temperance is about alchemy. It's blending together energies. It's also oh, Cancer. It's also like kind of being in a holding pattern. There's a patience element that comes with temperance. Also, too, it's like whatever you feed it is what is going to be blended. So if what comes out tastes like shit, that's kind of your own fault, right? Like, what are you feeding your life? What are you feeding your body? What are you feeding your mind to, right? Like, and whatever is being kicked out, however you feel, however you think, however you look, right? Like, that's all I want to say consequence, but it's all a product of what's being thrown into the blender, which is actually blowing my fucking mind right now. Like, I've never described the temperance card that much, which I almost kind of feel like I just went through like a bit of a hanged man that, you know, just seeing a different perspective of the temperance card, because I always also too, like, I always talk about tempering chocolate and how I've never done it. I've watched a lot of cooking shows, but you have to follow certain steps, right? In order to properly temper chocolate. And if you try to rush through, if you skip steps, it's ruined. Like, you can't even fix it. I'm sure maybe you can. I'm just, you know, dramatizing it. But you literally have to start over. So that's even part of temperance, and why that patience element comes in as well, because you do have to go through each step. And even be conscious of what you're doing, which I also even think is, you know, like what I was just saying about, you know, what are you consuming in every aspect of your life, right? So it's like being conscious of why you are consuming what you are. How is that affecting your life? And also too, like, is it helping you reach your goal? Or, you know, right? Like, what is it turning into? And with the temperance card being in the reverse, frankly, that may not have even been a focus for however long. Just willy-nilly, you know, and no doubt for good reason. And maybe there is this exhaustion that is happening over here with the strength card, because even too, strength in the reverse would be exhaustion, burnout, which could also even be why you're literally just holding. You're right. You're like, if I could just get here, then I could focus on these things. But in the meantime, I'm going to maintain these habits. I'm going to maintain the consumption that has been happening, because it's keeping me sane. It's keeping me alive. I don't blame you. And that's totally legit. There's nothing even wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with any of this, right? Ever. Where you are is exactly where you need to be, right? Like, and you can love yourself in any place where you are. But I love that, like I said, right? Like, this temperance card would be working its way to upright. So that tells me that whatever this holding pattern is that you have been in for some time, whatever this thing is that is causing exhaustion or burnout, again, the holding pattern, the delay, the suspension, whatever it is, right, is coming to an end. Or there's going to be an opportunity to change the things that you are putting into your blender. We're just going to keep going with that analogy. And we know that because the Lovers is upright. Now, the Lovers, it's not necessarily about romance. I mean, it certainly can be if that's what you are looking for. But the Lovers talks about choices. Interestingly enough, it's also about the balance between the masculine and feminine energies. Not necessarily the genders, but when we think of the divine masculine, we think of initiation, confidence, going and getting, right? Audacity, literally. Think about having the audacity of a mediocre white dude, like that saying. Truly, it's asking for what you want, regardless of if you deserve it or not. But also, why wouldn't you ask for that, right? Like, the hell, it's 2025. We're going for the things. We're asking the questions. We're doing the things, right? We're making decisions. And then the divine feminine is intuition, nurturing, fertility. I mean, it's literally birthing something into existence, receiving. The divine masculine is giving, right? So it's the dance and the balance between those two energies with the Lover's card. Also, too, I just like, Gemini rules over the arms, I believe, the arms and the hands, because there's two of them, So maybe there has something to do with your arms or your hands. Sagittarius, I believe, is like lungs and liver, like the filters in our body. What is Leo? The heart? So it's interesting even that came through, like maybe there's going to be a focus on your health. But this to me feels like that balance that we haven't had over here. Finally finding footing. I don't know if these are like pigeons. Like it was just kind of reminding me of like the eagles do that like death drop thing. I mean, these are clearly not eagles. So I don't know if there's like other, I mean, that's just what it reminds me of. But this feels more personal than it does related to like another person, you know? I mean, it certainly can be like making connections. It can be, working with somebody who helps you gain that equilibrium. But it really does feel like a balancing of, or, being able to make decisions from more of a balanced place. Let's look at the bottom of the deck. And if you've made it this far, thank you so much. I'm glad that you did. And if you haven't already, I would love it if you subscribe to my channel. It helps me grow. It helps YouTube push my videos out, which would be great. And if you wouldn't mind liking the video, even maybe dropping a comment, even if it's just, an emoji, If there isn't an actual title on this video and one pops into your mind, let me know, because it has been stressing me out to have to put titles on these videos because I'm just not good at naming shit. It's a miracle that I even named this channel, and I literally named it after my human design profile, which is the 5-1 profile. But anyway, drop that in a comment too. Somebody did that on the Capricorn reading, and I was so glad. And I changed it to what they said. And yeah, like the video, comment, save it, share it. Those are all free ways to support me and the channel. And, I love you for it. So, oh my God, bro, please. We have the Hanged Man at the effing bottom of the deck, dude. I absolutely love that this came out. Funny that it came out at the end of the reading too, which is actually the card that comes after the Strength card. This is number 11, I believe. This is 12. That's hilarious too, actually. I think Temperance is 14. The Lovers is 6. That is hilarious. But what I love about this Hanged Man, though, so that's what's funny about tarot, and that's what I absolutely love about tarot too, is that I even was getting the vibe of the Hanged Man on the Strength card, and then literally like the traditional meaning of the Hanged Man, right? And then on the Hanged Man in this deck, there's this chrysalis here, right? So there's a caterpillar in there that is probably already turned to goo and will emerge as a beautiful butterfly. So there's this metamorphosis happening for you. Which also even kind of feels a little like Wheel of Fortune-y, even though like I know we don't have that on the table. But it's just like, however things have been in the recent past or for however long, they're causing this big shift within you. And by the time it resolves itself, or by the time you get to a point where you're like, okay, I feel like I can make these decisions, or I have more balanced choices, you are going to be making those decisions and choices from a different understanding about yourself, about your life, about what you want, where you're going, because they're still in this cocoon. So there's not a resolution yet, right? Like you're still very much in the middle of it, but also it's like trusting the process, doing the work in the middle, like, honoring your exhaustion or your burnout, right? I mean, again, just being conscious of what you are putting into your blender, what you are consuming, just being conscious of that as much as you can, not judging, not shaming, not guilting, just recognizing, like these are the things that I want to make slow changes. I want to, make different choices around, and literally, like, by the time you come out as this beautiful butterfly, like you will, right? Like, beautiful. Beautiful. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for allowing me to read your cards. I will talk to you soon. Bye.